Lena Carter walked slowly along the shore of the purple-hued planet, her boots sinking slightly into the soft, glowing sand. The sky above shimmered with streaks of blue and gold, strange clouds twisting in patterns she had never seen before. She had been sent to explore this remote planet for its natural resources, but her curiosity often led her away from the assigned path. Today she wanted nothing more than a quiet walk, a chance to breathe the crisp, alien air, and forget the pressure of her mission. The wind carried a faint, high-pitched sound, almost like a cry. Lena paused, her head tilting, listening. The sound came again, weaker, closer to the water's edge. Her heart pounded as she stepped carefully over glowing rocks, following the noise. She didn't know what she would find. The idea of encountering an alien creature scared her, but something inside told her she had to see. Then she saw it, a small shape struggling in the shallow waves, flailing against the current. Lena's eyes widened. The creature looked like a wolf, but unlike any wolf she had ever seen. Its fur was sleek and wet, shimmering like silver starlight. Its eyes glowed a soft green, large and filled with fear. It was tiny, no bigger than a human child's hand, and it looked completely defenseless. The waves were pulling it further from shore, and Lena could see that it was losing strength fast. Without thinking, Lena ran into the water. The cold hit her immediately, sharper than anything on earth, but she didn't stop. She reached for the pup, scooping it out of the waves in her arms. The pup whimpered and nuzzled her hand, its tiny body trembling. Lena's mind raced. She had no idea what species this was, whether it was dangerous or even if it could survive out of the water. But she didn't hesitate. Carefully she carried it back to the sand, wrapping it in her jacket to keep it warm. The pup's glowing fur began to dim as it calmed against her chest. Lena sat down, her legs sinking into the sand, and studied it. Its small paws flexed, and it made soft musical sounds, like a quiet song. Lena realized this was its way of speaking, of showing gratitude. She whispered, "It's okay, little one. You're safe now." The pup tilted its head, ears twitching, and emitted another soft sound, almost as if it was saying thank you. Lena examined the pup more closely. Its fur shimmered with different colors in the light, flowing from silver to pale blue. Its eyes, still glowing, seemed intelligent. She had never seen an animal like this, not on Earth, not in any reports she had read. The idea that she had found something completely unknown filled her with awe. She gently stroked its head, feeling a strange warmth spread through her chest. Something about this little creature felt familiar, as if they had known each other before. She tried to think practically. "I need to get it somewhere safe," she said to herself. The shore was dangerous, with unpredictable waves and sharp rocks. She looked around and spotted a small cluster of glowing plants nearby, their leaves forming a natural shelter. Lena carefully moved toward it, keeping the pup cradled in her arms. As she walked, she noticed the pup's fur pulsing slightly with light, almost like it was responding to her touch. She couldn't understand it, but it made her feel even more protective. By the time she reached the shelter, the pup seemed calmer, curling into her jacket as if it trusted her completely. Lena set it down gently and sat beside it. She pulled out a small portable heater from her pack, wrapping it around the pup to keep it warm. She looked at its tiny face, wondering what it ate, how it survived, and if it had a family. 1,000 questions raced through her mind, but one thing was certain: she couldn't leave it here alone. The wind rustled through the alien plants and Lena shivered. The planet was beautiful, but it was wild and unpredictable. Dangerous predators could be nearby. She looked at the pup and its glowing eyes met hers. It made another soft musical sound, and Lena felt a spark of determination. She would protect it. Somehow, someway she would keep it safe. Hours passed as Lena watched the pup, talking softly, trying to understand its language. She noticed patterns in the glow of its fur, small flashes that seemed to match the pitch of its sounds. It was communicating, she realized, though she couldn't decipher the meaning yet. Every time she reached out, the pup responded with warmth and trust. Lena smiled, feeling a connection she had never experienced with any animal before. Night fell on the planet, and the sky turned a deep indigo. Stars shimmered, reflecting off the glowing water. Lena built a small fire using her tools, careful not to harm the plants. The pup nestled close, its fur now a soft silver light in the dark. Lena couldn't sleep, her mind buzzing with questions and possibilities. She wondered what species it was, where it had come from, and what role it might play on this planet. Something told her that saving it was only the beginning of a bigger story. Suddenly, a sound came from the dark water, soft splashes and quiet whispers. Lena froze, holding the pup close. She didn't know if it was a predator, a friend, or something else entirely. The pup's fur flared brightly, almost like a warning. Lena felt her heart race, but she stayed calm, whispering to the pup, "I'm here. We'll be okay." The pup nuzzled her hand and she realized that whatever came, they would face it together. By the early morning, Lena had decided on a plan. She would keep the pup with her until she understood it better. She would feed it, study it, and protect it from the dangers of the planet. She looked at its glowing eyes, now full of trust, and whispered, "I don't know your name yet, but I promise to keep you safe." The pup responded with a soft trill, almost like it understood. Lena smiled, feeling hope and excitement for the first time since arriving on this alien world. Lena didn't know what she was stepping into. She didn't know what adventures, challenges, or discoveries lay ahead. But in that moment, holding the small, glowing pup in her arms, she realized one thing. Sometimes the smallest acts of courage can change everything. Saving this pup was no longer just about kindness, it was the start of something extraordinary. And Lena knew, deep in her heart, that she was ready to face whatever came next, together with the little alien wolf she had rescued from the waves. Lena woke up to the soft glow of the pup's fur. It pulsed gently like a heartbeat, and she realized it had become her companion in every sense. She had spent the night next to it, keeping it warm and safe under the alien plant's shelter. The little creature stirred, stretching its tiny legs and looking at her with curious, shining eyes. Lena smiled, feeling a strange joy she had never known before. She had named the pup Oren, though she didn't know if it understood the name yet. She hoped it would. The morning air was crisp, carrying scents Lena could not identify. Oren followed her as she explored the immediate area, hopping lightly over glowing rocks, its tiny claws leaving faint trails in the sand. Lena observed how it moved, noting that it was incredibly agile, almost as if the water had strengthened it. She realized that Oren was not just a normal creature. It had abilities beyond ordinary animals. Its ears twitched at sounds she could barely hear, and its glowing fur seemed to respond to emotions. When Lena felt cautious or nervous, the light dimmed. When she felt calm or happy, it brightened. Lena decided to try feeding Oren. She had some nutrient packs in her backpack meant for herself, and she carefully crushed some into a paste. At first, Oren sniffed it suspiciously, but hunger soon won. It ate slowly, looking at her between bites, and a soft trill of satisfaction left its mouth. Lena laughed softly. "You're stronger than you look, little one." The pup's fur shimmered with bright silver and soft green, almost as if it understood her words. Lena felt amazed. There was intelligence in Oren's eyes that went beyond instinct. Over the next few days, Lena and Oren formed a routine. She taught it to follow simple gestures, like pointing toward a direction or clapping softly. Oren quickly learned and responded with eagerness, showing a clear understanding. Lena realized that she had never encountered such a bond with any creature before. On Earth, animals could be trained, but this was different. Oren seemed to understand her feelings and intentions without words. It would nuzzle her when she felt anxious and playfully jump around when she felt happy. One evening, while Lena collected samples of glowing plants, she noticed Oren staring at the horizon, its fur pulsing a strange combination of blue and violet. Lena felt a chill run down her spine. Something was happening, though she didn't know what. The pup barked softly, or perhaps it was more like a melodic trill, and then darted toward a small hill. Lena followed cautiously, keeping her hand near her tool for safety. When they reached the hill, she saw strange footprints, alien creatures moving in patterns that suggested intelligence. Lena realized they were being watched. Her heart raced, but Oren's glow shifted, calming her. It stepped forward, sniffing the footprints and then nuzzling her hand. Lena took a deep breath. She realized that Oren's presence was more than comforting, it was protective. She had saved it from the water, but now it seemed that Oren had become her guide in this strange world. She could feel the bond deepening, a silent understanding growing between them. Lena smiled. "We'll watch out for each other, right?" Oren gave a soft trill in reply, its eyes bright and trusting. The bond grew stronger when Lena accidentally injured her hand on a sharp rock while collecting samples. She winced, but before she could bandage it, Oren nudged her hand with its nose. Then the pup pressed its glowing fur against the wound. Lena gasped as she felt warmth spreading from the pup into her hand. The pain dulled. It wasn't magic, she realized, but something natural, something Oren could do with its unique body. She looked at it with wide eyes. "You can help heal?" she whispered. Oren blinked slowly as if acknowledging her understanding. Lena began to trust Oren more each day. She realized it could sense dangers she could not detect. When she was about to step on a hidden crevice, Oren barked softly, stopping her. When a sudden gust of wind carried an unfamiliar sound, Oren's fur flared, alerting her to a potential threat. Lena marveled at how perfectly they worked together. She felt grateful that she had found Oren when she did, and she understood that their bond was mutual. They needed each other to survive and thrive in this wild, unpredictable place. One afternoon, Lena ventured farther than before, testing the limits of the area she could safely explore. Oren ran ahead, pausing at strange plants and glowing stones, investigating everything. Lena noticed how quickly it adapted, learning the terrain, the smells, the signs of movement around them. She felt proud and amazed. Oren wasn't just a rescued creature. It was intelligent, capable, and loyal. And Lena felt a deep responsibility to protect it in return. Night came, and the sky exploded in a display of purple and gold streaks. Lena sat by a small fire, Oren curled beside her. Its glowing fur reflected in her eyes as she spoke softly to it, telling it stories about Earth, about stars, and about the life she knew before arriving on this planet. Oren listened, tilting its head, its body glowing softly, and Lena felt tears prick her eyes. She had never known such pure companionship. Saving Oren had brought her something she didn't even know she needed, a friend who understood her in ways no human ever had. As the days passed, Lena noticed Oren growing stronger, more confident. It explored new areas, followed her through difficult paths, and even began responding to subtle gestures she hadn't taught it. She realized that their connection was deepening in ways she could not fully explain. The pup was teaching her about trust, empathy, and the unique strengths humans could offer to creatures who might otherwise be afraid. One evening as they watched the purple sky, Oren emitted a series of soft trills and flashes of light. Lena looked at it curiously. She realized the pup was trying to communicate something important. Though she didn't understand fully, she could feel the urgency and intelligence behind it. She touched its fur gently, whispering, "I'll follow you no matter what." The pup nuzzled her hand, then ran ahead, guiding her toward a strange formation in the distance. Lena felt her pulse quicken. Whatever awaited them, she knew they would face it together. By the time Lena lay down to sleep under the alien plants that night, she felt a sense of calm and hope she had never known. Oren curled close, its glowing fur warm against her side. She realized that saving this small, strange pup had changed her life. The bond they shared was growing stronger every day, and she knew that it was only the beginning. Lena closed her eyes, whispering softly, "We're in this together, Oren. Whatever comes next, we face it side by side." Oren responded with a soft trill, a promise of loyalty, and Lena felt that their adventure was just starting. Lena woke to a strange sound that made her heart beat faster. It was not like the wind or the water, and it was not the soft trills of Oren. This sound was heavier, like footsteps, but not human. Lena carefully looked around, holding Oren close. The pup's fur flared a bright green and blue, alert and tense. Lena knew that Oren was sensing something she could not yet understand. The wind shifted, carrying the sound closer. She stood slowly, keeping her movements calm so she would not startle Oren. The alien forest near the shore was alive with faint noises, twigs snapping, leaves rustling, but this was different. Lena realized they were being watched. Oren stepped forward slightly, low to the ground, and gave a soft, warning trill. Lena followed its lead, moving toward higher ground where she could see more clearly. From the hill, Lena saw shadows moving in the distance. They were creatures, but unlike any she had seen before. They were taller than her, with long limbs and smooth, shiny skin that reflected the faint light from the sky. Their heads were narrow, and their eyes glowed faintly red. Lena's mind raced. She didn't know if they were hostile, but their presence felt dangerous. Oren's fur pulsed rapidly, bright green and orange, signaling alarm. Lena took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. She realized that she needed a plan. Running blindly could be deadly, but staying in one place was equally risky. She whispered to Oren, "We need to be smart. We stay quiet and watch." Oren pressed close to her side, its small body tense but ready. Lena felt a strange mix of fear and determination. She had survived difficult situations before, but this was unlike anything she had faced. The creatures moved closer, their steps quiet but deliberate. Lena could see now that they carried tools, devices that looked like scanning instruments. They were searching, and from the way they moved, it was clear they had a purpose. Lena realized with a sinking feeling that Oren was not ordinary. These creatures might be after the pup for its unique abilities. She knew she had to protect it no matter the cost. Using the terrain, Lena began to lead Oren through narrow passages and between glowing rocks. The pup followed her closely, its glowing fur dimming to a soft silver to avoid attention. Lena's heart pounded with each step, but she stayed focused. They moved silently, finding hidden paths she had not noticed before. Oren seemed to guide her at times, pausing to listen or sniff the air. Lena realized that its senses were far sharper than hers, and she trusted them completely. After a while, they reached a small cave partially hidden by bioluminescent plants. Lena crouched low, signaling Oren to stay quiet. She peered out and saw the creatures move past without noticing them. Relief washed over her, but she knew this was only temporary. These beings were persistent, and she had no idea what they wanted with Oren. The pup pressed its head to her hand as if offering comfort, and Lena whispered, "We'll be ready for whatever comes next." Over the next few days, Lena and Oren explored more cautiously. Lena learned to read the signs of the alien hunters: broken branches, faint footprints, and unusual noises. Oren helped her at every step, leading her away from danger and even warning her when she accidentally touched a plant that released a cloud of irritant spores. Lena began to see how valuable Oren's abilities were. It was not only intelligent and loyal but also a protector. She could not imagine facing this strange planet alone. One afternoon, while resting near a glowing lake, Lena noticed a small group of the alien hunters scanning the area with their devices. They moved systematically, clearly looking for something. Lena realized that Oren's unique glow must be detectable, and the creatures were searching for it. She whispered urgently, "We have to move, Oren. They're close." The pup's fur brightened briefly, then dimmed as it followed her lead. They moved quickly but quietly through the dense alien flora. As they navigated, Lena thought about what she had learned. Humans were not always the strongest, she realized, but they were clever. They could think creatively, solve problems quickly, and adapt to new situations. That was her strength, and now it was what would help her protect Oren. She began setting small distractions, throwing glowing stones or rustling plants, to mislead the hunters. Oren seemed to understand immediately and followed her signals. Together, they managed to avoid several encounters that could have ended badly. One evening, while hiding in a shallow cave, Lena noticed that the alien hunters were communicating in a strange series of sounds and lights. She could not understand their language, but she realized they were coordinating. The threat was greater than she had imagined. Lena felt a chill, knowing they would not give up easily. But she also felt a spark of determination. She had Oren, and together they could be smarter and faster than any hunter. She whispered, "We're not just running. We're learning. We'll be ready for them." Oren pressed against her as if agreeing. As days passed, Lena and Oren became more confident. They discovered that the hunters underestimated the humans' ability to adapt and think creatively. Lena set small traps and clever routes that confused the hunters, while Oren's intelligence allowed them to move safely through unfamiliar terrain. They even saved a few small alien creatures along the way, showing Lena that humans' empathy could form unexpected alliances. Each success made them bolder, and Lena realized that the threat was teaching them how to survive and protect each other. One night, while resting under the alien plants, Lena looked at Oren and smiled softly. The pup's fur glowed a calm silver, no longer pulsing with fear. "You've taught me so much, little one," she said. "Together we can face anything." Oren made a soft trill, and Lena felt a deep sense of hope. The hunters were out there, yes, but they had underestimated the bond between a human and a creature who trusted her completely. By the time the sun rose over the purple horizon, Lena knew one thing: the threat was real, but she was no longer afraid. She had Oren, a clever and loyal companion, and together they had survived challenges that would have defeated most. She looked at the pup, its eyes shining in the soft morning light, and whispered, "We'll be ready when they come again. And we won't be afraid." Oren responded with a gentle trill, and Lena felt a spark of confidence. Whatever danger approached, they would face it side by side, using their bond, their wits, and their courage. Lena woke early, the purple sky just beginning to brighten. Oren was already moving around, its glowing fur shifting softly with every step. Lena smiled at the pup, feeling a deep sense of connection. The past days had been tense and challenging, but they had survived together. Today Lena had a new plan. She realized that if the hunters returned, they might not be able to handle them alone. They needed allies. She had noticed small groups of creatures observing them from a distance. They were cautious but curious. Lena believed they could help. She whispered to Oren, "We need to show them we are friends, not a threat." Oren gave a soft trill, agreeing. Lena stood and moved slowly toward one of the groups, keeping her hands visible. The creatures were unlike anything Lena had seen. They had long legs, soft blue skin, and gentle eyes that reflected the morning light. At first the creatures stayed back, uncertain. Lena knelt, keeping her body low and calm, and gestured toward Oren. The pup stepped forward, its glow pulsing softly. Then it made a series of melodic sounds, trills that Lena hoped the creatures would understand. Slowly, one of the alien beings stepped closer, tilting its head. Oren responded with another soft trill, and Lena felt a spark of hope. Communication, she realized, was possible without words. Over the next few hours, Lena and Oren worked to gain the trust of the creatures. Oren demonstrated its abilities, showing that it could sense danger, communicate emotions, and move carefully without harming the environment. The creatures began to relax, even approaching Lena with curiosity. She offered gestures of peace, moving slowly and showing she carried nothing harmful. Eventually, they allowed her to come closer, and she realized she had formed the first step of an alliance. Lena began learning from the creatures. They knew the terrain far better than she did, and they shared ways to move quietly, find safe water, and identify potential threats. Oren acted as a bridge, showing that humans could work with the local species. Lena realized that empathy and understanding were more powerful than weapons. Together, they could defend themselves and the planet's creatures from the hunters. As the days passed, Lena and Oren practiced moving as a team with their new allies. They developed signals and routines, small gestures and sounds that coordinated their movements. Lena noticed that the hunters returned periodically, searching in patterns, but they were confused by the unexpected alliance. They had expected only a human and a small pup, not a network of creatures working together. Lena felt a surge of confidence. Humans might not be the strongest, but they could be clever, adaptable, and resourceful. One afternoon, Lena, Oren, and the allied creatures explored a valley with glowing plants and crystal-like rocks. Lena spotted traps the hunters had set, small devices that could capture Oren or harm the creatures. She signaled quickly to Oren and their allies. Working together, they dismantled the traps, using simple tools and careful movements. Oren's agility and intelligence were crucial. Lena felt proud, realizing that the hunters underestimated not only humans but the power of trust and teamwork. That night, under the twin moons, Lena sat with Oren and the creatures around a small fire. She realized the bond she had formed went beyond survival. It was respect, understanding, and friendship. Oren curled next to her, its glowing fur reflecting on the eyes of the alien creatures. They looked peaceful, no longer wary of her presence. Lena spoke softly, telling them stories of Earth, of humans who cared for others, and of the courage that kindness could inspire. Oren made soft trills, adding its voice to hers, and Lena felt a warmth in her heart. The hunters did not give up. One morning, Lena noticed them moving closer than ever. But this time she was ready. She had a plan and she was not alone. The allied creatures formed a perimeter, signaling to Lena and Oren when the hunters were near. Lena led the group through clever routes, using shadows, dense plants, and small natural barriers. Oren darted ahead, guiding and warning. Together, they avoided capture, confusing the hunters at every step. Lena realized that humans' greatest strength was not physical, but the ability to unite and think creatively under pressure. During one encounter, a hunter's device emitted a strange pulse, scanning for Oren. Lena acted quickly, signaling the creatures to hide, and Oren lowered its glow to almost nothing. The hunter passed without noticing them. Lena exhaled slowly, feeling relief. She understood that strategy, cooperation, and trust had become their greatest weapons. She looked at Oren and whispered, "We're stronger together than they expected." Oren responded with a small trill, confirming her thought. The alliance grew over time. Lena discovered that other species on the planet were willing to help when they saw kindness and courage. They shared information about the hunters, safe paths, and secret locations to hide. Lena realized that one human and one pup could not do much alone, but a community built on trust could achieve great things. She felt proud of what they had accomplished and knew this was only the beginning of their work to protect the planet. One evening, Lena and Oren stood on a hill overlooking the glowing valley. The allied creatures gathered below, their eyes reflecting the soft light. Lena felt hope and determination. She knew the hunters would return, but they would face more than just a human and a pup. They would face a united force that valued intelligence, courage, and trust. Lena patted Oren gently and the pup's fur shimmered warmly. She whispered, "Together we can protect this place. Together, nothing can stop us." Oren pressed its head to her hand, glowing softly, and Lena felt a deep sense of confidence. By the following morning, the hunters had left the area, confused and unable to overcome the united alliance. Lena knew it was a temporary victory, but it showed her the power of cooperation. She looked at Oren, the the small pup who had led her to form connections and alliances she never imagined possible. She realized that kindness, empathy, and courage could create strength greater than any weapon. Lena smiled, knowing that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. The bond between her, Orin, and their allies had grown unbreakable, and it was only the beginning of a story that would change the planet forever. Lena woke to the soft glow of the twin moons fading in the sky. Orin was already awake, stretching its small body and flicking its ears. Lena smiled at the pup. Over the past days they had faced dangers, formed alliances, and discovered the strength of trust. Today felt different. The air was calm, the alien plants swaying gently, and Lena realized that for the first time they could breathe without fear. She stepped outside the shelter, Orin trotting beside her, its glowing fur pulsing softly with a calm silver light. The allied creatures had gathered nearby, waiting quietly. Their eyes reflected curiosity and trust. Lena felt a deep sense of accomplishment. The hunters were gone, at least for now, and they had learned something important. Humans could connect, care, and think in ways that even advanced species sometimes underestimated. She whispered to Orin, "We did this together, little one. We kept each other safe." Orin tilted its head, emitting a soft trill that seemed like agreement. Lena decided to explore further, feeling confident that the planet held wonders they had not yet seen. Orin led the way, moving carefully through the glowing plants, its small body agile and alert. The allied creatures followed at a safe distance, showing trust in Lena and Orin's guidance. As they moved, Lena noticed signs of life she had never seen before. Tiny creatures that glowed like fireflies, strange plants with moving leaves, and rivers that shimmered with colors that changed like rainbows. The planet was alive, vibrant, and full of mysteries. While walking through a narrow canyon, Lena noticed strange markings on the rocks. They looked deliberate, almost like messages. Orin sniffed the markings and barked softly, drawing Lena's attention. She realized that the planet itself was filled with signals and secrets. With Orin's help, she began to understand the patterns. It was clear that intelligence and life here were more connected than she had imagined. Lena felt humbled, realizing that humans had much to learn, but also that humans had unique strengths: empathy, creativity, and courage. They reached a small clearing where the sun's first rays hit the ground. Lena knelt to examine the plants, carefully noting their patterns and colors. Orin circled her, alert and protective, its glow shifting from silver to soft blue. Lena realized that the pup had grown stronger, more confident, and more aware of the world around it. It was no longer a helpless creature she had saved. It had become her guide, her friend, and her protector. Lena felt a warmth in her heart, knowing they were connected in a way that transcended words. Suddenly, a sound echoed through the canyon, soft, melodic, and unlike anything Lena had heard before. Orin's fur flared brightly, alerting her to something approaching. Out of the shadows emerged more of the planet's intelligent creatures. They were cautious but not hostile. Lena understood that they had come to observe, to see the humans who had formed an alliance with Orin. She stepped forward slowly, showing her hands and bowing slightly. The creatures tilted their heads, studying her. Orin ran ahead and nuzzled them gently. Lena watched in awe as the creatures responded with soft sounds and glowing patterns. Trust had been formed. Lena realized something profound. Saving Orin had created a ripple of understanding and friendship. Her small act of kindness had grown into a connection that crossed species and intelligence. The planet had begun to accept her and Orin, and she understood that humans could play a positive role in this world, not through power or weapons but through empathy and courage. She whispered, "We don't have to conquer. We just have to care." Orin trilled softly, glowing brightly as if agreeing. Over the next days, Lena worked with the creatures to explore the planet safely. They showed her hidden paths, sources of food, and places where the hunters could not follow. Orin remained at her side, its abilities guiding them through unknown terrain. Lena began to document everything, understanding that humans could share knowledge while respecting the planet and its lifeforms. She realized that cooperation, understanding, and compassion were more powerful than any technology. One morning, Lena noticed movement in the distance. The hunters had returned, but this time they were cautious, hesitant. Lena felt no fear. She signaled to Orin, and together they moved with confidence. The allied creatures surrounded the area, creating subtle barriers and distractions. The hunters scanned for Orin but could not find it. They realized the planet and its inhabitants were united and clever. Lena watched as they slowly retreated, defeated not by force, but by intelligence, cooperation, and loyalty. She felt a deep satisfaction, knowing that humans had played a role in creating understanding rather than conflict. That night, Lena sat by a small glowing river, Orin curled at her side. The allied creatures gathered nearby, peaceful and calm. Lena reflected on all that had happened, the fear, the challenges, the trust that had been built. She realized that saving Orin had changed her life, not just by giving her a companion, but by teaching her the value of empathy, teamwork, and understanding. Humans had strengths that others often overlooked, and Lena now understood them more clearly than ever. Orin nuzzled her hand, its fur glowing softly. Lena smiled and whispered, "We're not just surviving, little one. We're making a difference." The pup emitted a soft trill in reply, and Lena felt a deep sense of hope. The planet was safe at least for now, and humans had a place here, not as conquerors but as allies. Lena understood that the smallest acts of courage and kindness could ripple outward, creating bonds that changed everything. As dawn broke, Lena stood and looked at the horizon. The planet stretched endlessly before her, alive and beautiful. Orin bounced beside her, excited and alert. The allied creatures watched them, their eyes reflecting trust and respect. Lena felt a sense of peace and purpose. She understood that humanity's role in the universe was not just to explore, but to connect, to protect, and to create understanding. She took a deep breath, feeling the wind on her face, and whispered, "Whatever comes next, we face it together." Orin barked softly, a joyful trill that echoed across the glowing landscape. Lena knew that this was only the beginning. There would be more challenges, more discoveries, and more adventures. But now she was ready, with Orin at her side and a network of allies to support them. She realized that saving a single drowning pup had led to a journey of courage, trust, and understanding that would change her life forever. She looked at Orin, its small glowing eyes full of life and intelligence, and smiled. The universe felt full of possibilities, and Lena knew that humans could rise to meet them, not through power but through empathy, intelligence, and friendship. As the twin moons set and the purple sky gave way to the first rays of sunlight, Lena and Orin moved forward together, their bond stronger than ever. The planet was no longer a place of fear but of hope. Lena knew that humanity had a role to play here, and she was ready to embrace it fully. Whatever lay ahead, she and Orin would face it side by side, creating a future where understanding and kindness were the true strengths.